Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I am back on again once more with Wildcat Hawkins. This time around, we are talking about his fantastic new record called 33 Keys. I'm super excited to talk to him all about it. And Wildcat, I want to thank you so much for taking the time, being flexible, and just being a great musician all around. I'm excited to talk about this record. Before we get into it, though, how have you been? It hasn't been that long since we last spoke. So what's going on?
Yeah, I'm just trying to work on my life and finishing up this album. So I realized that the album was kind of there, so I just released it and went
It's
from
it's
there.
here and it's great.
Well, what I want is for Joe Rogan to hear it because I think that the healing might help him. I don't know if it would, but I think
Potentially.
it might. So if anyone is within earshot and can give it to Joe, I don't want to solicit a fee or any nothing, but I want him to hear
Sure.
it because I think it may help him.
Yeah, man, you never know. That's the power of music is anyone can hear it and it can just get out there and do its thing. Um, I think this time around our conversation is going to be a little bit different because the last two times they focused on individual singles. And it was so nice to get the background, get the story, kind of hear where these songs came from. But now listening to this record with full context of those stories, but actually listening from start to finish, I feel as though it tells a complete story. Um, Prior to doing this, I know that we're going to talk about the individual meaning of a lot of these songs, but I'd also love to know, like, is there one cohesive story that cuts through this, selection of songs?
There is. So I want to talk about the piano. This is my mom's piano, and I didn't tell you guys this. So this
No,
is the one that kind of this is like the middle of the chord, I think, like the thread holding this album story together.
sure. Let's hear it. Let's hear all about it.
So what I do is this: when I visit my family on the weekends in Minnesota, the first thing I do is run to this piano because it sounds so dang good. And what I think is that uh, sometimes it almost sounds eerie with these recordings and that has something to do with being off of the normal tuning because it creates interference in the sound.
Sure.
And so that's what it is. But my whole life story was kind of all about being secluded and being kind of just off on an island in a lot of ways. And
Okay.
that's represented kind of by just the years I spent when I lived at home with my family and stuff like that. So that went on for a long time because of how just dysfunctional of a person I can be at times.
I understand. I
That
think
was
we can
all.
all be like that at times.
Yeah, I felt like I've had a big thing like feeling like I was stuck in my hometown, like songs by Fountains of Wayne resonate with me and stuff like that.
Sure.
And I don't feel like a real winner in life oftentimes. But what I do feel like I know understand is music. And when I'm making it makes me forget about those kind of dichotomies, winner, loser,
Yeah,
uh, who's cool, who isn't. I don't think it is. I think music doesn't have ego to it,
it
and
really
that
doesn't.
amazes me.
I've said this so many times in the past. You making music and releasing it, it's not the matter of quality. It's about how vulnerable you're being. You're creating this thing and you're putting it out into the world and you're putting more beauty into the world. And it reflects you as a human being. I understand like you have these beliefs of yourself and obviously the stories that come with them. But at the same time, I think a lot of people will listen to this music and it will put them into a different headspace. You know what I mean? It will make them feel better about themselves. It will calm them, relax them. And it's sort of the tone that you've brought to this album as a whole.
Something happened to me, Austin, where I don't want to say I leveled up because I don't even like to think about up and down per se.
Sure.
But somewhere along the line, Austin, it was around the time that I finally figured out that I do have Tourette's syndrome. And
Yeah,
you didn't even notice it, kind of like Dan Aykroyd. You probably don't even know it. But I have this condition. It's been affecting me in a major way. And around the time I found that out, something happened to me where this energy, I want to tell you what it feels like for me to have this condition here. It
please.
feels like there's lightning in my veins sometimes. Like there's
Okay.
an electrical grid that has an overabundance of juice in it, just about. And there's these forces that flow through my body, and they're actually inordinate. Um, and it feels real off at times. And you can stop yourself from having a tick, but that causes problems. Like that's when something angry will come out of my mouth or something like that. And
Sure.
so that's all been happening throughout my life. But what I find is that the most amazing thing is to try and grab hold of those forces inside of my body, like the prana,
Sure.
is something that can be turned into a flow, like a Hadouken almost.
I understand. I understand. And do you feel like that has directly related to some of these songs? And though we talked about it in the past, and I've gotten the stories from you, but it sounds like there's a lot more going on the entirety of the album instead of just individual songs.
Yeah, I'm such a rambler, Austin. Thank you.
It's
I need
okay.
direction. I need the
I
direction.
got you. That's why I'm here. Give you all the direction.
That's the truth. That's the truth of it, is that throughout this whole album, what it was another exercise in getting out of my own way, kind of.
Yeah.
Because I put a Samsung phone down by the piano, and there are no other instruments on this. I wanted to tell you that when it comes to Silent Partner, the percussion you hear is the pedal on the piano, and that's a technique I developed to play
Wow.
percussion with the pedal. So I'm trying to make a percussive sound with the pedal.
Could
And as
have
far as
fooled
the
me. I had no idea.
well, that the crazy thing is, there are moments where it sounds almost like there's a pad sound coming in, or an electric
Sure.
guitar with a fuzz reverb, but there is nothing. This album is just piano,
Wow.
and I set a Samsung phone, so that's going to be just probably on par with the iPhone, I think. So it should be a pretty good mic,
Yeah.
and and because it's right on the piano, um, my vocal is in the correct distance, so there's no mixing. This is raw audio. There hasn't been any mixing whatsoever. Maybe next time we'll get a little fancier with the audio quality and
Sure.
try that next time.
Well,
But
I want to stop you right there and I want to say, like, so every time someone sends me music, always listen on a nice pair of headphones. Typically, I can tell, like, the production and the quality and the crispness. I actually really couldn't tell here that it was recorded on a phone. I'm not just saying that either. Like, it really does sound great. I also think that I'm more focused on the actual content of the music rather than how it sounds. Do you know what I mean? Like the quality wise. Like I got sucked in to the music portion of it.
Austin, that was almost like a shit test. It was proven by Through the Wire by Ye. That Through the
Yeah,
Wire song kind of almost proves that, you know? It's like, hey, I bet you it's the soul that counts, not the delivery vehicle mechanism.
absolutely.
That's kind of what I'd say about that.
I think it's
That's
true.
because my friend Richard Ditchweed, I consider him to be an Akashic Vedic warrior. Now,
Hmm.
he is an original hippie that never sold out. He's a blue collar hippie from
Love that.
Milwaukee. He saw Hendrix play it, in the heyday. He popped
Yeah,
his head in the back. He was like 17. He wasn't allowed in the bar. He still snuck in. But anyway, he was the one that has told me these things. He's the one that encourages me on this path. So,
got it. All right, let's get into these songs. I there's obviously some standouts on my end besides the singles, but I want to know from your perspective which of these songs with lyrics stand out to you, which of them have the most meaning, and even the non-lyrical ones, just the instrumentals, they sound like they're pulling from something inside of you. So I'd love to hear all about that.
well, my personal struggle is basically kind of all about trying to find uh, a greater degree of authenticity in my life.
Yeah.
And I have attachments, so I'm kind of overly enmeshed with my family, kind of like Bam Margera almost. But
Oh, no, I don't
I'm
think you're as worse off as he is
I'm
right
not as
now.
toxic as Bam because I'm not on meth.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm I'm not. I also, if Bam is within earshot, I want to talk to him because I'm
Oh,
the right healer to talk to Bam because I'm
yeah,
enmeshed with my family, so I want to talk to him to help him. That's
yeah,
just neither here nor there. But either way, all I was gonna say is that's the drama in my life, right? Because my family is very conservative, and I'm kind of like a rock star type of dude or something, or could be
yeah,
maybe. So it kind of reminds me of the songs of David Bazan, kind of remind me of my own life. And he writes about how his family somehow they don't always like it when he's worldly, basically, because
yeah.
they're very pious and stuff.
I understand.
And Death of a Salesman was a song that Alan Sparhawk wrote that I think I relate with also because
Okay.
it gets to what I was telling you about living in the Midwest. Also, it's just uh, being a fledgling artist is all I've ever known. but I'd like more people to get to know me because I'm really concerned about selling out. It's something I don't want to do. So this song "Sacred Heart" on here is one that I dedicated to the memory of Mimi Parker. So she was a wonderful woman when she was still in the flesh, and basically just a good example of what a good person in music would be like. So
I
I wanted
understand.
to just dedicate it to her memory, and it is actually my favorite one on the album. I think it sounds kind of
Really?
spooky. Yeah, I think it sounds kind of spooky.
I think you're right. I mean, not all of the songs, but I definitely get like a haunting, suspenseful vibe from the entire record. Something that I have in my notes here is obviously like, yeah, I listened to the first two singles extensively, like, and I really got to know them. And they're similar in sound, but listening to this record from start to finish, it is truly one of those album experiences that like it sucks you in. It's not just song to song to song. Like it's one piece of art that you've created here, which is so difficult to do nowadays. So, I mean, you should be proud of yourself for doing that. And that's always a difficult thing to do.
The reason I feel good about it is because I got out of the way,
Yeah,
because my hope is that it's, universe stamped. That's the type of stamp I'm looking for, the positive stamp.
right.
I don't wanna be the dark-minded one that's gonna just only do it from my own money and my own good and things like that. So I hope it's
Sure.
healing for people is what I'm hoping it is.
Absolutely. Another thing I wanted to talk about here were the purely instrumental songs. So, were they improv? Did you compose these? Did you just play them based off how you felt? Like, how did you create them?
Right. So the process is as follows. When it comes to silent partner and point of light, I had some idea what I was doing. It was like a singer-songwriter,
Yeah,
like the Dead kinda,
sure, sure,
where it was half and half, improvised and half written. And, when it came to some of the other comps, though, Upright Individuals, that was actually, a version of a improvised comp that I created about a year ago. I have another recording of it, the original one.
sure.
But so that one, I liked the new one more than the prior recording. But, when it comes to this album, yeah, it's just pretty improvised. Sacred Heart was just off the dome, just kinda drop
I
it,
love
and
that.
I didn't listen to it till a week later, and then I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute, I didn't
Sure.
know this one was good," or I thought it was anyway.
But I enjoy that. Like, not everything needs to be written down to the final note. You know what I mean? Like, you're playing based off of your emotions. You're playing based off how you feel. And I don't think a lot of people are doing that. So it goes to show one, like you obviously have the talent to be able to do that, but also it works in the grand scheme of the entire album.
It's a balance, Austin, because I try not to judge it. Like, Sufjan Stevens was the one that told me that when he makes different art, he
Sure.
actually thinks it's the same type of process, which is what I feel.
Yeah.
So, because of the fact I'm used to trying to mastermind things, well, I've been doing too many mastermind projects, I think, where it's like too many tracks, and it's not that it's bad, it's just that where was the soul that comes through with a piano and a voice? Where was it?
Exactly. Yeah,
Where was it? So
it's true.
I just don't wanna say that, like, because part of me, I feel like, "Oh, 33 keys, this is obviously my best work." It's hard to say it's better than Rough Diamond, it's hard to say it's better than something like Brazen Serpent, but,
Sure.
they're just apples and oranges, and I just think that they all needed to happen, they all served their purpose, and I'm happy to be here showing you this because this is kinda like the real art. This is the art I made when I had no friends, no girlfriend. I was trying not to put a kill myself basically,
Sure,
living at
sure.
home with my parents. I work with this, special ed kids for only, like, 30 hours a week. I was a very dysfunctional man when I invented this style. That was, about 19 years old or so, and,
I
I was just
understand that.
really tortured because of everything that was going on with my, religious problems I have and stuff, and it was just God, was that ever a tough time in my life when I
Right.
came up with this sound. And then I shelved it and just forgot about it. I was impressed with it when I came up with it way back in the day, and then I just thought to
Yeah.
myself, "I don't fit into the world with the neoclassical people because I don't feel like coming to the party. I can't even drink the champagne with my religious status," and not only that, but I feel like, a lot of these people they don't seem blue collar like me, and it seems like if I go to the Guggenheim, I'm gonna be the odd duck, and it'll be weird and shit, and I don't know what to make of this. So
It's a
so
great way to put it.
that's just how I am.
I mean, listen, we're influenced by everything, and obviously your life translates directly to the music that you're making, whether it be lyrics or just the emotions that come through your fingers in making this music. Um, Another thing I'd love to know about is like, what type of person do you think is going to enjoy this album the most?
Oh, that's a tough call with this one. There's a certain crowd I know gravitates toward me though, and it's almost like I can see it in dating options that come to me naturally.
Sure.
This is people who are goths and people who are like yoga interest type of people. Those type of people I think are gonna really like this because they're already looking for like vibrational
Yeah,
energy healing.
that's a great answer. Truly, that's exactly what I was thinking. I mean, honestly, even earlier today, I don't identify as like a yogi or a goth or anything like that. But obviously, I was listening to the album and I was just, hanging around my house doing chores, cleaning, and it really put me in such a calming mood. The instrumental tracks on here are really just such a beautiful thing. But if there's one word that I could come up with to describe this, it would just be versatile. Like you could use these types of songs in so many different contexts, which is again such a difficult thing to do when creating music.
The other crowd that I kind of gravitate toward that I enjoy is indie. You know, if it's just called indie and nothing else, it's
Yeah.
such a weird catch-all term. I don't know what to make of it. You know,
Yeah.
like nowadays we got Justin Vernon and Taylor Swift make music together and Aaron
Right.
Dessner and stuff. So it's like we've seen it like because the death of the underground is a big issue. I try to deal with it by not selling out and not selling anything for years on end and hanging out with my friends and dropping out. Because then there's a history there and people know something happened and there is some history. And it's not
Yeah.
my sales pitch. It's just that was just what happened. That's just me being me. So I think that when we look at what's going on, the modern pop genre, I had made a composition for my class in 11th grade in school. There was a class where they taught us how to record a cakewalk and stuff. I signed up for that stuff. And the professor or the teacher in high school said it doesn't have a melody. And I said, "Oh, I didn't notice. It sounded good to me. It just got some drums and some parts." And so, well, there was no modern pop genre back then.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
listened to radio. I listened to Radiohead. I don't even think I knew who Mogwai was back then. I don't believe I did.
probably not. Rules
I
are
like
meant to be
back.
broken when it comes to music. Music is one of those few things where it's like there's no rules. Like there are rules, but there's like you just do what you want and you make it sound good. And when you do things different, that's when you create amazingness.
Radiohead.
Oh yeah, that's that. There you go.
They don't fit in any box, do they?
Nope, they're their own thing. Another
Kind of
thing
like
you said,
Talking
yeah,
Heads.
totally.
They're not really like the Talking Heads
No,
though.
not at all. I also think your definition of indie is right on. Like indie music used to be like, oh, we're not on a label anymore, but now so many people are on labels and they're still making that indie sounding music. I think it's more of a vibe that comes through in the sound rather than like this is what we are.
Well, Karen O and Phoebe Bridgers appeared at the Chanel party, and that made me think that was a sign of the times.
Yes. Yes.
It proves
Um,
it right there more than Justin Vernon and Taylor Swift. Because as soon as an indie artist gets an Eventbrite link, they sell out.
Yeah, it's a complicated world we live in. Things are so much more different than they were 20 years ago when it comes in the music realm. So you never really know. Um,
Where's
well,
there's no
yeah,
cauldron is the thing. There's no cauldron.
correct, correct. One thing you've done a really great job of is describing this music and where it came from. And something that I asked you last time that I feel like still is in play this time is you are the type of artist that never stops making music. You live your life, these things happen to you, you get ideas, and you record them, and you don't hold yourself to a strict schedule. What's the future looking like? Whether
That can
there's
change.
something or not.
That depends how bad I need a paycheck, basically. So
Sure.
the thing that'll put me on hiatus is this Bat project. So basically, if the
Okay.
people at Warner Brothers look at me and they say, "Well, okay, nobody looks more like Batman than Wildcat does, and he can do his own stunts." It's kind of like an LL Cool J thing, basically. Like if you put
Sure.
your energy into acting instead, you can usually be a good actor. Like they're doing it with
Yeah.
Lady Gaga now, right? So that's the thing that would take me away from music would just be a Bat project of that nature. But
Yeah. I
other
mean,
than that,
that's
I'm not going to stop.
of course. No, definitely. Yeah, I understand. I meant like in the short term future. Like, do you have songs here that didn't make the cut? I know that this record is so fresh and it just came out, but are you already looking towards the next project?
Okay, you don't have to worry about nothing coming out. It's just like Smashing Pumpkins with the tapes with me. How
Yeah.
the thing I love about Billy Corgan and Tom York is that they both recognize that, people say they like live music more than the album. Well, what the hell does that say about sound quality? That must not be where it's at, I guess.
Very true. Very true.
So then when
Yeah,
Tom and Billy make a demo and they say, "Gosh, I found myself listening to that demo a few times over again." I
yeah.
think the fans might want to hear it. They might like it if they share it with them. They go ahead and do it.
Who knows? I mean, we have this transparency in music these days where you can just tweet at someone and maybe get an answer, and it's the craziest thing. So I get it. Um, well, before we start wrapping up here, I want to hear from you. Like, obviously, I've got my questions and I've got my ideas, but is there anything that I missed, or just like really important information about this record that you think people should know? Maybe something that I didn't ask.
What I want them to know is this. Basically, I don't want to put labels on things. I told people that music is spiritual to me, and I mean that. And what I like is to create an experience where people can feel like it's open and welcoming to have some kind of what they, if they wish to, they can say out loud that they're having a spiritual kind of experience. I think that what Fish did with It was really fantastic because when you break things down, and you look at things that topics that interest me, like semiotics and semantics and glossalia, things that Terence McKenna was interested in, interest me. And
Yeah.
when you look at these kind of things, really at the end of the day, I just think we find that our language, the human language, proves that the word "it" comes to our mind when we're trying to describe whatever we're in the moment. And what I'd like to do is tell people that when it comes to 33 keys, there's no special sauce, there's no, granddaddy poobah, anything to this. I would like to think of
Sure.
it as being an unassuming type of thing that anyone can approach. And I just invite you to approach it and, you know, hopefully find peace through listening to it because I find peace when I listen to it personally. And I think that it will bring that into your life. And I think that if you give it a try, that you should give your intuition a try as well. And what I believe in is that as above, so below. That's what I believe in. So
Yeah.
there is some aspect of principalities, of principles in the universe, I think. So I think that when you listen to this, it will become food for your intuition, where something good will come into your life. And I just wish you the best, and I just wish that you will all be blessed, no matter who you are. Because it's not within my nature to have enmity toward any person. It's not consistent with who I am. So I don't want anyone to get the idea that because sometimes I have a strong opinion or I might disagree with something that I have enmity toward another person because I don't. And I think that ego is not the thing in this life. And I just hope that everybody will get that message and give it a try.
That is a beautiful sentiment. I'm serious. That's exactly what I wanted to know. And I think it's exactly what people need to know before listening to this and also exploring the rest of your music. Um, on my end, I feel like this is probably our most complete talk yet, and it's most complete record that you've made. And I'm so excited for people to listen to it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, but I'm also going to plug your music for you before I take off. So if you missed it the first time around, the record is called 33 Keys. Like always, we will have the links in our articles so that you can listen and share and follow along and generally stay tuned. Wildcat Hawkins, you're making music in a way that I think people can be jealous of, that they can't just get out there and just sit on a piano and make it. You do things in a bare bones minimalistic way that kind of makes you focus on the emotion and like the brevity of it all. And I thank you for doing that. I think you've done a wonderful job here.
Oh, thank you so much, Austin. Those words are very kind, and I'm glad that you're gaining value from this.
I
And
really am, truly.
I'm just grateful to know you as a guy and just,
Thanks,
realize that
man.
when I get out there to California, I can link up with you and get a cup of coffee and say hi and stuff and just
Come
know you
on
as a
by.
person and stuff.
Come on by. You've got my info. All right. Well, I want to thank you again for taking the time. I want to thank you for being flexible in your time. And I want to thank you one more time for just a great conversation. So I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.
Yeah, same to you, Austin. Hey, you're the best. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Take care. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, see you around.
Bye bye.